I used to be this 300-pound man who thought that was it. I could barely read, couldn't do anything, and I thought my story was done. But what I didn't know was buried inside that weak version of me was the savage you see standing here today. That's how scary the mind is, man. And it wasn't until I got just a taste of what I was really capable of, that I realized I hadn't even scratched the surface. I hadn't even begun to fucking crack what the mind can do. Here's what I figured out on the other side of pain, on the other side of that deep fucking suffering. That's where the real growth happens. But you ain't gonna find that reading some fucking theory in a book. A lot of people are theorists. These smart ass dudes sitting in their comfy chairs telling you how the mind works. They're safe. They're comfortable. They'll sit you down and preach about your limits like they figured out some magic formula. And most people believe that shit. They think, yeah, that's it. That's the cap. But nah, man, I'm not some fucking theorist. I'm a practitioner. I went out there, bled for it, suffered for it, and realized those guys are full of shit. The mind's got levels you can't even imagine until you push through that pain. There's a whole other fucking world waiting on the other side. That's what scared me most about myself. I realized how much I was running from the truth. So I had to master my mind. Had to beat that bitch into submission. Listen, man, when you're scared of something, you've got to face it head on and fucking dominate it. That's how you conquer your shit. I figured out when I was right at that point where most people quit. Everyone has that moment when their mind's like, yo, man, let's call it. Let's go home, hit a warm shower, grab some food. That's the mind's weak ass excuse to quit. And here's the thing, if you can't answer your mind at that moment, you're gonna fold. Your mind's throwing questions at you. Why are you doing this? Why suffer if you don't have an answer? You're fucking done. When I was in Bud's Ranger School, running 100 miles, 200 miles, breaking pull-up records, my mind crept in, whispering, you've done enough, you've proven yourself, it's okay to stop. But I had my answers ready, man. I knew why I was there. If you don't know why you're suffering, you'll always lose that fight. You need a response to shut down that weak voice in your head every damn time. And another thing, self-talk. People overcomplicate the shit out of it. They ask me, what do you think about on mile 100 or 205 mile race? What's going through your head after running 24 hours and knowing you've got another 24 to go with 105 miles left? The truth is, you don't need some fancy ass visualization technique or fluffy motivation. You need to fucking tell yourself the truth. Tell yourself you're not stopping no matter what. Here's the thing, man. People think self-talk is the magic bullet. Yeah, it works. But it doesn't mean shit without the suffering that comes first. Your mind doesn't just say, let's go positive. Let's talk nice. No, man, that's not how it works. Your mind is saying, we need something real. We need fucking truth. So when I'm standing there at 3 a.m, staring at my shoes, knowing I've got 30 miles to run, that self-talk has to come from somewhere deeper than just words. In that second, when you're in the pain, your mind screaming, find more, find more. That's when I calm myself down, go into what I call my cookie jar. I reach into the pain I've already survived, the shit I've already done. That's my self-talk. It's not just some fucking mantra, it's real. And most of you out there, you're lying to yourself in your self-talk. You're saying shit you haven't earned. And that's why it doesn't work. It's got to be truth. It's got to be backed up by the suffering you've already put in. If it's not, it's just words, and words don't mean shit. What pisses me off is seeing all these people trying to motivate and inspire others, but they ain't living it. Everywhere I look, there's a new podcast, a new guru, somebody saying they're going to help you find your drive. But they're just talking, man. You can smell the bullshit from a mile away. They ain't about that life. They're not in the trenches. That's why I ask, who are you really when I hear someone like you share your story? I can feel the truth in it. That's substance. That's why I'm here talking to you. Half the time, I don't even want to do these podcasts. I sit down and immediately know this guy's full of shit. He's just talking, not living. And then they want to tell people how to change their lives. People can see through that crap. They know when someone's just faking it. Here's the thing, man. Don't do everything in your life for money. Yeah, we all need it to survive. But there's something bigger, man. There's a drive that comes from the mind, from the soul that money can't touch. That's where real passion lives. People tell me, man, you talk with such intensity. Yeah, because this is my fucking life. I live this shit. That's what I want people to get from all of this. Your mind is the most powerful thing you've got. It's not your phone. It's not your fancy computer. None of that. It's your fucking mind. And if you can learn to tap into that, man, you can rise up from the depths of hell and become something powerful. You can become a seed that grows into a damn unstoppable forest. But you got to earn that shit. It's all on you. People don't fucking get it. The real power, the real magic, it's all up here in your fucking mind. When I talk about suffering, people cringe. It's like I dropped a bomb. The second I mention that word, everyone wants to run. But here's the thing. It's not about living in suffering every damn day. You don't have to torture yourself nonstop. But you got to tap into suffering because you've got so much scarring, so much shit that's buried deep, and you need to clean that up. I look at suffering like I look at failure. You want to succeed, you got to fucking fail. You want to grow, you got to suffer. The answers, every single answer you're looking for, they're inside that pain, inside that suffering. Life is the test, and the answers are hidden right there in the shit you've been avoiding. And don't get it twisted. You don't have to live in pain every day. You need to visit it. You hate working out? Guess what? You only work out an hour a day. But that 1 hour, that's where the magic happens. Same with suffering. You need to visit that dark place, that failure, that pain for an hour a day. Go back to your past fuck ups, your fears, your insecurities, go in there like it's a fucking live autopsy. That's how you learn. The live autopsy, you know how they crack open a body to find out how someone died. Well, you're going to do that shit while you're still alive. Crack your mind open, dive into that suffering, and figure out why your life went to shit. Why did this moment break you down? Why did you let fear control you? Why are you sitting on the fucking couch feeling sorry for yourself? All those answers, they're buried in your scars. You've got to go into them, dig them up, and study them. So don't act like you have to suffer every single second of your life. Just visit that pain for an hour a day. Go into it, learn from your mistakes, your fears, your self-doubt. Don't just sit there saying, I'm afraid of this or I can't do that. No, fuck that. Ask yourself, why are you afraid? Study that shit. That's what I did. I studied my mind because I knew I was weak. And instead of running from it, I ran straight into it. I asked, why am I so weak? Oh, that makes sense. I came from hell. I came from a place that broke me down to nothing. Of course, I'm afraid it all starts to make sense when you face it head on. And that's what I did. I went back into my mind, faced every fear, every insecurity, every failure, and I went one-on-one with that shit. I revisited it, looked it dead in the eye, and said, all right, let's fucking do this. That's how you get stronger. That's how it works. And you're going to know I'm doing it. You may not see me in your face, but you'll fucking know. Maybe you'll see me running across the world and you'll turn on the damn news. And there I am. You're sitting there saying, how the hell? What the fuck? That's how I let you know I'm here. I'm fucking here every time I dropped a significant amount of weight. I called up that recruiter. Like, hey man, I'm here. I'm still fucking here. And after a while, that dude became like my best friend. He started to realize, shit, this guy's actually changing his life. And not just that, he was changing his life too, just by watching me grind. That 3-month period was a war zone. Packed with failures, depression, more fucking setbacks than I could count. But what did I find in those 3 months? I lived a whole fucking lifetime in that short time. And I realized something, if I could flip my insecurities, if I could flip the fear that used to make me this weak, broken down, insecure motherfucker and make it work for me instead of against me, then I'd have all the power. The power in failure, the power in insecurity, the power in self-doubt. I always looked at everyone around me like they were way above me. I felt like I was at the bottom of the barrel, in the sewer, the lowest of the lowest of the low. But I used that. I turned it into fucking fuel. When you've got nothing, man, nothing to draw from, that's where the real strength is. I learned to find strength in every molecule of this earth. I can be in a room with zero motivation, zero inspiration, fucking nothing, and still find it. So I created this thing called taking souls. When you're exhausted, weak, and everyone around you looks like shit, I'd say to myself, now's the time. Now's the perfect fucking moment to make a statement to show you where your life ends and mine begins. That's when I flip the switch. I take every bit of strength I've got from their weakness, from their pain, and I make my move. Look, man, I came from the bottom, from hell itself. So now when I'm amongst these so-called uncommon people, I flip it. I make them feel common. I use their weakness, their self-pity, all that woe is me bullshit as my fucking strength. We're in the sand, we're running, and everyone's gassed out, right? I hit a surge, I go harder. And when they look at me like, how the fuck is this guy doing that? That look, man, that fuels me. That look is everything. It pushes me further, harder, faster, like I'm on fucking fire. Energy everywhere. But here's the thing, that voice in your head, the one screaming at you about pain, suffering, and quitting is loud as fuck. It's so loud, it drowns everything else out. It makes you want to run, makes you want to tap out. But you've got to calm that shit down. You have to get to this patient, quiet place inside yourself and say, hang the fuck on. I've got something here, because if you don't, that voice will break you. You have to learn to sit in that storm and think clearly. When you do that, that's when you find your real strength. That's when you take their souls. And I had to sit my ass down and face every single thing that was wrong with me. You can't just gloss over your weaknesses, man. You've got to make each one of them a fucking focal point. You can't fix all your shit at once, but you can take one thing, laser in on it, and break it the fuck down. For me, it was becoming smarter. I had this severe learning disability, and I knew I wasn't going to learn like anyone else. But I wasn't about to let that stop me. So I asked myself, how the fuck am I going to do this? I had to figure out my strengths, my weaknesses. How do I attack this? I had to strategize, because I sure as hell wasn't going to learn like the rest of you. So I created a system. Even to this day, if I've got a huge fucking manual to study, I'll go to the damn store, buy a bunch of spiral notebooks, and I'll write that shit down page by page 10 times over. When I got the 1,000-page dive manual, I knew I wasn't smart. I wasn't about to just wing it like most people would. I realized, man, if I don't get this book 18 months ahead of time, I'll fail. I need that much time to write down each page, to drill it into my brain. By the time the test came, I had written each page so many fucking times that when a question popped up, I could see it in my mind like it was burned into my memory. I'd be like, yeah, I remember that page 71, got it? That's how I passed. That's how you've got to tackle life. You've got to strategize. You've got to break down each problem piece by piece. You don't solve everything at once. No, you pick one fucking problem, attack it, fix it, and then move on to the next one. You handle your shit like that, and before you know it, you've handled them all. But if you try to fix everything at once, you'll drown. Being accepted. That shit killed me for years. We're so bombarded with outside influence that we forget what we fucking want. You want to fit in, be liked, be accepted. But here's the truth, you've got to shut all that noise off. Turn off the damn phone, the computer, the TV. Sit alone in a fucking room, just you and your thoughts. Think about what you want, where you want to be. Not where the world wants to push you, but where you see yourself tomorrow, a year from now, 5 years from now. You know how much self-discipline it takes to do that shit? In today's world where everyone's attached to their phones, trying to keep up with everything, it's easy to lose yourself. The world's moving so fucking fast and you're trying to keep up, but in the process, you're losing who you are. So you've got to take that time, block out the noise, and go to that dark place in your mind. That's where you'll find out who you are. And once you do, that's when you start making real progress. The military, man, it was everything to me. Loved every damn second of it. But here's the thing, I didn't want to just be known as the Navy SEAL. Yeah, I'm a SEAL, an Army Ranger, Ultra Runner, whatever the hell title you want to throw at me. But those are just labels. People are like, this dude's a Navy SEAL, went to Ranger School, tried out for Delta Force twice, did ultra races, broke the pull-up record. Now he's a wildland firefighter. Yeah, that's cool, but fuck all that. I want to be known as David Goggins, period. I don't want to be defined by titles, man. There's so much more to who I am than just a list of achievements. I'm just me, plain and simple. That's one of the reasons I left the military. I'm 43 now, and I've got so much more shit to do. And here's the truth, if you're willing to suffer, like truly fucking suffer your mind and body together, can do anything. I learned that the hard way. There was this one moment that changed my life, running 30 miles in the worst fucking pain I've ever felt. I was broken, man, on the brink of death. But I chunked those 30 miles into tiny pieces. You see, I wasn't motivated. Motivation is bullshit. It comes and goes like the damn wind. But when you're driven, nothing stands in your way. I was driven to finish that race no matter what. Now, people always ask me, were you thinking about the guys who died? And I'll be real with you, I wasn't. This shit became personal. It was me against this race, me against the kids in my past, and me against me. It was fucking personal. I took it so violently personal, I had no choice but to break it down step by step. First, I had to get my nutrition right. Then I had to figure out how to stand up. I was sitting there on the curb, my wife was with me, and I was literally walking at a snail's pace. She looked at me and said, You're not going to make the time. And I get it. She wasn't wrong. I was barely moving, walking 30-minute miles. But when I hit mile 81 and she told me I wouldn't make it, fuck that. I ran the last 19 miles nonstop. People think I'm crazy. They think I'm sadistic. Nah, man, you don't get it. I wasn't born like this. I was just a scared ass kid who found drive and passion to be something more than what I thought I was. I unlocked something that all of us have, but most people don't even realize. We all have it, but the difference is I didn't just sit back and think about it. I became a practitioner. I started busting through barriers I didn't even know existed. Yeah, I've got a learning disability. So what? I didn't let that hold me down. I caught up. I found out all the shit that was keeping me stuck and I crushed it. And now I'm here to tell people you can do the impossible. You don't need perfect parents. You don't need some private school. You don't need a 4.0 GPA. What you need is that brutal, savage work ethic. You've got to be willing to outwork everybody on this damn planet. That's the key. You outwork them all and you will fucking win. That right there, that's the hard part, man. How the hell do you deal with people you still care about, but all they do is doubt you? They're like, you can't run 200 miles. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're going to kill yourself. The truth is, there are a ton of people like that, but here's the real reason why they can't see themselves doing it. That's the biggest fucking reason right there. They can't picture themselves grinding like that. And you know what? A lot of it is just straight up jealousy. When you start setting big ass goals and they see you going after them day in and day out, it fucks with their heads. Imagine this, we're all family, right? 3, 4 of us. Every morning I'm up at 4 a.m. busting my ass training for this 200-mile run. You roll out of bed still rubbing the sleep out of your eyes, and I've already knocked out 30 miles. How do you think that's going to make you feel about yourself? It makes you feel like shit. When you're out there crushing it, chasing greatness, and the people around you aren't, they feel it. That's what I mean when I talk about mediocrity. Most of our family, most of our friends are stuck in that mediocre mindset. They don't want to push. There's always a couple of uncommon motherfuckers who want more, but most, they're stuck. And when you're getting after putting in the work, it's a mirror to them. You make that mediocre motherfucker feel like shit. And that could be your mom, your dad, your best friend. Doesn't matter who the fuck you're making them feel horrible just by trying to be better. I've been there, man. I'm talking from experience. When you're surrounded by people who ain't got that same drive, they hate it. Because every damn day, you're a reminder of how lazy and fucked up they are. You've got to know that's what it is. If anyone in your corner ain't saying, hell yeah, get after it, I'm proud of you, then they've got a fucking problem with themselves. All you're trying to do is level up. And if that bothers somebody, you've got to look them dead in the eye and say, man, you got some deep issues. It's more than just surface level shit. It's eating at their soul. I had to fix myself by realizing how ugly I was toward people who were killing it. I had to take a hard look and admit, man, you don't hate that dude for being great. You hate him because you're lazy. His greatness shines a light on your bullshit. And that's the real truth. That's how I felt. Man, mediocrity is everywhere these days. We're all trying to find the easy way out, judging ourselves by who's around us. You put 10 people in a room, all mediocre as hell. But if I'm the best of that group, I start thinking I'm great. And that's the trap we fall into. We surround ourselves with people who make us feel good, who tell us what we want to hear. But the second you put yourself in the same space as uncommon people, that's when you feel it. That's when you hate it. You hate that challenge. You don't want to be around that person who's up at 3 a.m. saying, let's go for a run, because deep down, you know you don't want to face what it takes to get there. We love that person who says, hey man, I don't feel good today. And they're like, it's all good, bro. Take a day off. Let's grab a pizza and watch the game. We eat that shit up. Why? Because it makes us feel good, makes us feel safe. It doesn't challenge us. It doesn't push us. And that's the problem. We want to stay in our fucking comfort zone, surrounded by people who make us feel okay about being average. That's the mediocrity of life, man. We want to be the best, but only amongst average people. We don't want the person who's constantly calling out our weaknesses, making us uncomfortable. Nah, we crave that false sense of security wrapped up in our own bullshit. People ask me, how do you stay hungry all the time? Goggins is simple. After I accomplish something, I don't kick my feet up and chill like most people. You see guys who graduate buds or finish some big challenge and they get soft, man. They wonder, why am I getting weak? What happened to my edge? That's mediocrity right there. So many people have a nice resume, have hit one big thing. Maybe they made a lot of money or they achieved some success, but now they're stuck. They're one-timers. They're mediocre, man. It ain't about what you did once. What are you doing today? What about tomorrow? Next week? That's what I care about. I don't listen to the people who've got all the theories, who sit back and tell you how it should be done. I listen to the person who says, man, I'm fucking tired, but I got to get up tomorrow and do this shit all over again. That's the person who knows something. They're not tapping out. They know that the grind is endless, that suffering teaches you something you can't learn from comfort. That's where real knowledge comes from, through the suffering. And on the other side of that pain, there's a world out there that most people will never, ever see. It's beautiful, man. That's where you find yourself. Not in the easy shit, but on the other side of suffering, in the moments when you feel like you've got nothing left, but you keep going. You don't find yourself in mediocrity. You find yourself when you push beyond it. Like that 100-mile race I ran for 24 hours straight. It wasn't until 19 hours in, when I was deep in the pain cave, that I found something. I found a whole new fucking world. And it wasn't outside, it was all in my mind. That's what it's about, pushing past that soft, mediocre version of yourself and discovering what's inside. Mediocrity is contagious, man. It spreads. But staying savage, that's a choice. Not getting civilized means never letting your mind get soft, no matter how successful you become. People get comfortable. I see it all the time, especially with athletes who retire. They were on top for 20 years, the best of the best, and then they hang it up. And a year later, you look at them and wonder, what the fuck happened to you, man? You were a legend. Kids looked up to you. People were inspired by you. But the moment they retire, their mind says, I'm civilized now. And that's the fucking death sentence right there. When your mind goes soft, everything else follows. The worst thing that could happen to any human being is they become civilized. That's the real killer, man. You've been the baddest motherfucker alive. And then one day you wake up and you start feeling comfortable. You start believing your own hype, like you've arrived. Let me tell you, that shit doesn't go away. You've got to wake up every day and remind yourself that the grind never stops, even when you're retired. You don't get to just clock out and chill. Nah, man, you're setting a fucking example every single day. Being civilized feels so damn good though, right? It's that easy life. You've made it. You've done your thing. But guess what? The moment you start feeling like you've made it, like you're safe, that's when you start falling off. People see it. You think no one notices, but they do. You want to be that guy who says, yeah, I'm retired, but you'll never see me looking like I've given up. You don't get to say, I've arrived. That's the kiss of death. You're always setting the example, always grinding. That civilized shit, it feels good. It's what people crave. Retirement, comfort, that's what everyone is working for. Hell, I want it too. It's human nature. But people love slapping a label on me saying, Goggins, man, you're just wired different bullshit. I'm not wired different, dude. I'm just awake. I know what's waiting for me if I get soft. I know the trap of comfort. Even now, after all I've done, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, what's next? I've got to wake up tomorrow and do this same shit again. I'm not special. I just made the choice to fucking work every day. After this interview, I'll go stretch for 2.5 hours. I hate it. But guess what? That's what keeps me callous, keeps me sharp. I'm constantly fighting that victim mentality I had growing up. You stop putting in the work. And it doesn't just stay there, you lose it. It's like shooting a gun. You could be the best shot in the world, but if you don't pick that gun up for a year, you're going to get rusty. You've got to oil that machine every damn day, especially in today's world. Man, today's pressures are at an all-time high and our minds are at an all-time low. You can bully a motherfucker through a phone now. Back in the day, it was face-to-face. Now you can do everything from behind the screen. The pressure to keep up is insane, but our mental toughness, it's weaker than it's ever been. We are soft, man. Mentally, we've never been this weak. And because the world's harder now, it's even tougher to push through with a weak mind. That's my drive. That's what keeps me going. I know people are out there suffering. We've all got two sides. There's the one side we show the world, the side that says, I'm good. Life's good. But then there's the other side. The side that shows up when no one's around, the side that's miserable, depressed, full of self-doubt. And that side, it's real as fuck. So my mission is to give people as much strength as I can. I want them to wake up every day and know that they have the power, not just to survive, but to thrive in this world. I want them to hear my story and realize, hey, I've got that same strength in me. You just have to fucking tap into it. That's what it's all about. Listen, man, the biggest fucking thing I had to do was stop giving a shit about what people thought of me. I used to walk around like everybody else was on some damn pedestal, like they were better than me. And because I thought that way, I wouldn't tell you a damn thing about myself. I was too afraid you'd judge me. And I feel even worse than I already did. But once I got my head, right, once I sat my ass down and took a hard look at how jacked up this world really is, I realized something: everybody's fucked up. Every damn body. The only difference between you and the people talking shit about you is that they've gotten really damn good at hiding their bullshit. That's it. That's the only thing they're better at. So once I got that through my skull, I stopped giving a fuck. Look at all the shit on TV, these news anchors and so-called experts judging people who screwed up. Yeah, those people fucked up, but you really think the person sitting behind that desk hasn't? Hell no. They're sitting there thinking, thank God my skeletons didn't come out, but I'm still going to tear your ass apart on live TV. That's how people work, man. So if you want to sit there and judge my life, how messed up I was, go ahead and Merry Christmas, motherfucker. Enjoy it. But just know this, I'm smiling because I know damn well you're hiding some shit too. You ain't fooling me. There's power in that, man. There's power in putting your whole life on blast, saying, here it is, judge me all you want, it's free and as fuck to stop caring. To be able to sit on a podcast in front of millions and say, ask me anything. I don't give a shit. You think that doesn't feel good. That's power right there. The biggest thing you got to do is go dark. Shut off the damn noise. Turn off the tech. We're addicted to being around people, to talking, to all the bullshit distractions. But you know what? It's okay to be alone. It's okay to sit in your own darkness, to be unhappy. You got to face that shit head on. Say to yourself, yeah, I'm fucked up. And that's fine. The truth hurts, but it's the only way. You got to be brutally honest with yourself. Who the fuck are you? Strip it all down. Get to the core. It might take months, it might take years, but you got to figure out who the hell you are, what your purpose is. Once you've got that, everything else starts to make sense. But it's not easy. The reason most people don't know their purpose is because it's too loud out there. So you got to shut it all out. Go dark. Find that purpose. And when you do, that's when the real planning starts. People love the planning phase because it's fucking comfortable. Everyone gets a hard on for planning, talking about what they could do. It's easy. It's fucking cozy. But then you got to move to execution. And that's where the real shit happens. The execution phase, that's where the fucking pain kicks in. That's where failure comes knocking over and over. Failure after failure. But that's how it's done. That's the only way to make anything real happen. You know, I'm obsessed with that guy from Free Solo. He's a lot like me, even though I ain't out there climbing rocks. But he's got that fire, that crazy ass obsession to go all in, no matter the cost. What he did, yeah, that's impressive. But what really blows my fucking mind is how he shut out the entire goddamn world when he was doing it. He didn't give a single shit about anything except that rock. And let me be clear, I don't know the guy. I'm not speaking for him. But from where I'm standing, to pull off something like that, you got to be willing to stare death in the face and say, fuck it. You got to be cool with the idea that you might never see your loved ones again. They can't matter when you're on that fucking rock. The only thing that matters is the mission. Those kinds of people, they fascinate the hell out of me. People who can get to that level of focus, that kind of all-in mentality. Very few people understand what that shit takes. To want something so bad that you're willing to sacrifice everything, to throw it all on the line. I don't think he was planning to die. I don't think that was it. He was just willing to give it all to make that happen. There's a tiny, tiny group of people who live like that, who look at the world and say, you don't get me because you're too comfortable with your feet planted nice and firm on the ground. That's where you want to stay. But for me, for him, there's something way bigger out there than just standing safely on the ground. That climate lasted a few hours, maybe 3 or 4, who knows? It's done now. But he threw everything into those few hours. Risked it all for those moments on the rock. I've done that shit in my own life. I've thrown my whole self into something, risked everything. And what you get from those moments, that's something most people will never, ever fucking understand because they've never been on that rock. They've never put everything they have on the line for something that real. Most people can't fucking understand that level of obsession. So they think guys like him are fucking crazy. And you know what? I can't even talk to people like that. It's not craziness. He found something like I found something. He explored it on that rock, and I'm exploring it in my own way. We both found that thing that lights us up, and we're chasing it no matter what. That's what amazes me, those people who are willing to say, look, honey, I love you, but you need to understand something. I have to fucking disappear for a while. I can't be here with you 24/7 because this shit takes 100% focus. I need silence. I need discipline. I need to sacrifice everything. And if you're not on board, get the fuck out of my way because it's going to cost everything for those 3 or 4 hours of being all in. That's the kind of dedication I'm looking for. But guess what? That kind of dedication is fucking extinct in this world. It doesn't exist anymore. Nah, man. But that's why I do it. That's why I put myself through the grind. It's the only way to find out what you're made of, the only way to get hard as hell. People take these bullshit classes on mental toughness. Even SEALs sometimes get spoon-fed this crap about visualization, self-talk, eat the elephant one bite at a time, breathing control, all that. Yeah, cool story. But you know what? You got to put yourself in a situation that fucking rips your soul apart. This shit is a lifestyle. How are you going to react when you're in that deep, dark hell? How are you going to react when all that training flies out the window? Like when you're in cold ass water, miserable as fuck, and it's only hour 1 of a 130-hour hell week. That first wave smashes over your head and you're the coldest you've ever been, and your mind jumps straight from hour 1 to hour 130. All that self-talk bullshit. You're not thinking about any of that. All you're thinking is, how the fuck do I get out of here? But if you live this shit day in and day out, if you make it a part of who you are, that's when the self-talk kicks in. That's when it helps. But normally we don't handle pain. We don't handle suffering. We fucking react. We feel the discomfort and we go, get me the fuck out of here. But the people who survive that shit, the ones who crush it, they're the ones who take that feeling of wanting to run and say, no, motherfucker, we're staying right here. There's a way through this. This pain isn't forever. This cold isn't forever. It's temporary. You got to remind yourself of that. It's all temporary. But when you're in it, your mind convinces you that it's going to last forever. That's the trap. But it's all in your head. And the only way through is to fucking embrace it. The pain's going to end. The suffering's going to end. You just got to survive the storm. You sit back on Friday watching all those motherfuckers walking across that grind of the 16, 17, 18 guys who made it through Hell Week. And you see them standing there victorious. You see them holding their heads high. And you get hit with that brutal truth. You're standing there soaking in that hot, warm shower. And all you can think about is, why the fuck did I quit? That's what eats you alive. What keeps me going? It's the memory of quitting. I've quit things before, and I know exactly what waits on the other side of quitting. It's a lifetime of regret. A lifetime of looking in the mirror and asking yourself, why the fuck did I do that? Why didn't I keep going, man, if you know where I came from? You know, I was just a scared little kid. I wasn't born hard. I wasn't born with any special gift. But I found drive. I found passion to be something greater than I ever thought I could be. When you get that kind of drive, anything in front of you doesn't stand a fucking chance. It's you against everything. It's you against the obstacles. It's you against you. I was so driven that I made it personal. It was me against the race. Me against the other kids. Me against the man I used to be. Nowadays, it's so fucking easy to be great. Most people are soft as hell. This generation, weak. If you've got even a shred of mental toughness, a little bit of discipline, you're already ahead of the game. If you've got the ability to push through, even when you don't want to do something, you're already halfway to greatness. That's the secret. If you can do the shit you hate over and over again, there's something amazing waiting for you on the other side. I used to hate people not liking me. When I was younger, it was one of the hardest things to deal with. All I wanted was to fit in, to be liked. I thought that would make me happy. But that's a fucked up place to live, man. When you want to fit in so bad, you end up losing yourself. You end up becoming someone you're not, just so you can get approval from people who aren't any better than you. That's the biggest mistake you can make, losing yourself just to fit in with average people. But now I don't give a fuck. You don't like me. Take a number, get in line. I'm not here for you. I'm here for me. The only thing that pisses me off now is seeing people die with untapped potential. Seeing people quit on themselves because they think someone else is better or that they weren't born with the right tools. You don't need the best tools. You need the ability to grind your ass into fine powder. And when you're reduced to nothing, find a way to build yourself back up again and again. That's what it takes. It's fucking possible. If you want to be great, if you want to be the best to ever do it, you're going to have to be obsessed. You're going to have to be driven beyond what anyone else can understand. You'll be misunderstood by everybody around you because you're so laser focused on getting there. And you know what? That's what it takes. It takes every fucking second of your life. You want to be great? You want to dominate? Then be ready to give everything you've got every single moment for the rest of your life. Let me tell you, man, fuck balance. Yeah, it works for most people, keeps them comfortable, but if you're chasing that edge, pushing for greatness, balance ain't for you. You want people to look at you sideways, question what the hell you're doing. Wonder if you've lost your damn mind. That's when you know you're on the right path. When you're in the gym at 1 a.m. after grinding for 13 to 14 hours, and they're like, what's wrong with you? They'll never fucking understand. And that's exactly why you don't need them to. Because if they don't get it, you're in the zone. When people look at you like you're insane, you've hit that spot obsession drive, whatever you want to call it. It's what separates you from everyone else. And guess what? I don't want them to get it. You know why? Because they don't fucking belong where I'm going. That whole woe is me shit. Nah, man. Life's hard. Things ain't fair. Fuck that noise. Stop looking left, right? Comparing yourself to everyone else. That shit poisons your mind. You start seeing what others got and it messes with your head. She's skinny. She doesn't work as hard as I do. So what? Every time you focus on someone else's lane, you slow down in yours. We spend too much time judging ourselves against others. The only person you need to measure up against is you. I learned that hard truth, man. This race, it ain't me against anyone else. It's David Goggins versus David Goggins. When you block out all that outside bullshit and lock into your own grind, that's when you grow. You realize, why the fuck am I stressing over all this? This is my race, my timeline, and I'm running it on my terms. And let me tell you, when you're truly happy with who you are, no one can fuck with you. All that bullshit from the past, the people who wronged you, the situations that tried to break you, it doesn't matter anymore. I could be bitter as hell about everything I went through in the military, but why? I've overcome so much. I own my fucking headspace now, and no one is taking that from me. Too many people are letting others live rent free in their heads. They're so fucking wrapped up in what other people think about them that they forget how to feel about themselves. Their minds are leased out to the world like a cheap ass apartment, but not me. I own my fucking headspace. I put down a serious down payment and I'm making my own damn payments every single day. My mind is my property and I live in it like a goddamn fortress. Here's the thing, life. It's unpredictable as hell. You never know what's coming next. But people, oh, they're predictable as fuck. You know exactly what they're going to throw at you: bullshit, judgment, hate. So you better start preparing yourself for the storms coming your way. Everyone's out here trying to fix the world, anti-bullying this, anti-racism that. Yeah, that's great and all, but you can't rely on the world to get its shit together. You've got to get your mind right for your survival now. Man, you're wasting your time crying about how people don't like the way you look, the way you sound, the way you fucking dress. Stop being soft, armor your mind, build that confidence, stack up your self-esteem, and get so strong that nothing they say can touch you. That's how you win in this life. Stay hard. Look, man, on October 31st, I put up a video showing my legs swollen with edema, all fucked up. And you know what happened? The haters came out in full force. You'll never run again. Goggins, you're done. Yeah, there was a real chance I might not have run again. But I didn't give a fuck. I made that shit into fuel. All these people out here using calm apps to fall asleep with ocean waves and bird sounds. I made my own Goggins remix, motherfucker. I put all those negative comments on loop, played them like a damn lullaby. Woke up ready to go to war. That's how you handle that noise. Use it to build yourself up, not tear yourself down. Some of you listening to this might feel a spark. Get all motivated, lace up your running shoes, and get out there. But guess what? You'll probably get winded after a quarter mile, feel that pain, and think, fuck this, I'm done. And that's where most people stop. Motivation burns out when shit gets tough. But the ones who push past that, they find something way deeper. They find drive, passion, and yeah, even obsession. And when you hit that level, people will start looking at you sideways. They won't understand what makes you tick. They'll call you crazy, ask what the fuck is wrong with you. But that's because they can't see what's driving you. They'll never get it. And you know what? They don't need to. Because this journey, it's yours. Most people out there don't have the fucking guts to push through real pain. That's why I hammer this shit about motivation and drive over and over again. Because here's the truth, motivation ain't gonna save your ass when life starts throwing punches. When you're just motivated, life's gonna come along and snuff that little spark out. And you'll crawl right back to your pathetic, comfortable existence. But when you've got drive, oh man, that's a whole different animal. Drive is that big ass log in the woods that burns for days, weeks, even months. It just keeps fucking burning no matter what. That's what you need to be. When you've got drive, nothing stops you. Bills stacking up, money's tight. Who gives a fuck? You still grind. You still do what you need to do because nothing gets in the way of your mission. Man, I was that fat, nasty, miserable guy once. But I didn't stay there. I built something in my mind, a version of me that didn't even exist yet. I said, that's the motherfucker I want to be. That's who I need to become. And guess what? If you weren't born that strong ass, mentally tough person, so fucking what? You can make that person. Man, woman, I don't care who you are. You can build that strength from the ground up. But here's the thing, man. To become that person, you've got to say no to the easy shit. You've got to be willing to turn down those shiny distractions, book deals, fame, all that crap, and be true to who you are every damn day. And you better stop giving a shit about people who tell you you're doing it wrong. Find the ones who are real, the ones who go to war with you. That circle's going to be small as hell, but that's all you need. The rest, let EM do their thing. Be an asshole, be a douchebag, whatever, I don't give a fuck. I'm out here fighting my own battle. No one knows how deep I go, how hard I push. And you know what? I don't want them to know. I'm an introvert. I keep my shit quiet. And that's where I find my strength. I'm out here grinding in the dark while everyone else is making noise. And if I do hear about someone coming close to my level, you better believe I'm going to take it up a notch, push even harder. That's the mentality, man. This whole thing is all mental. The first thing you've got to do, shut off the damn noise. Go dark, get quiet. We live in a world where everyone's glued to their phones, obsessed with being around people, talking, partying. Oh, fuck that. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to sit in silence with your thoughts. Look, man, it's okay to be unhappy. Sometimes life sucks. Sometimes you're going to be miserable, and that's fine. But before you can get anywhere, you've got to get real with yourself. Ask yourself, who the fuck am I? Really dig into that dark place, face the truth about yourself, and don't shy away from it. That shit's going to take time, months, maybe years. But once you figure that out, once you know your purpose, that's when you can start building the person you're meant to be. All right, so you finally find your purpose, cool. That shit takes time. And most people never figure it out because the world is too damn loud. Everyone's drowning in noise, distractions, and other people's opinions. But once you lock in on that purpose, that's when the real grind starts. Here's where people fuck up. They get stuck in the planning phase. Why? Because planning feels good. It's safe. You can sit around, draw up your little blueprints, and it doesn't require you to do shit. But planning ain't worth a damn unless you execute. And that's where most of you are going to choke, because the execution phase is all pain. That's where the hate shows up, where the failures stack up one after the other. That's where it hurts, and that's where people quit. Nobody gave me a damn roadmap, no advice, no hand holding, nothing. I was fucking alone. But I looked in the mirror and I realized this is on me. No one's coming to save my ass. So I had to ask myself, what the fuck are you going to do about it? And slowly, I started changing my life. It didn't happen overnight. I started shifting gears when I was about 17. I walked into a recruiter's office ready to change my path. Then I failed the ASVAB test. Not once, but multiple times. I was one shot away from being locked out for good. That's when I really found out what work ethic meant. I had to grind my way through failure after failure to build that toughness. Here's the realest truth I can drop on you. The most important step in your life is the next one. Period. Most people are stuck fucking paralyzed in their own fear. They're stuck in concrete because they're too afraid to make enemies, too scared to speak their truth or to step out of the herd. You know what happens when you're worried about what people think? You stop moving. All that fear clogs your brain, shuts down your potential. Listen, man, always going to have haters. And guess what? You need them. They're a fucking gift. Embrace that shit. You could walk on water and those motherfuckers would still say you can't swim. So learn to shut out the noise. People hating on you, good, that means you're doing something right. Stay hard, stay in the fight. This goes for everything in life. The second you step out of the crowd and decide to be exceptional, people are going to come for you. Why? Because most people are cowards. It's easier to hide behind a screen, drop bullshit comments on Instagram, and hate from a distance. But don't let that shit get in your head. Don't let cameras, social media, or anyone else define who you are. You start living for the approval of others, and you're going to lose yourself real quick. You'll create versions of yourself that aren't even fucking real. And if you don't get past that need for validation, you're doomed. You'll never figure out who you really are. You'll never live your own dreams, you'll live theirs. You'll chase what they want for you, not what you want for yourself. You've got one life. Stop living it for someone else. So here's the truth, man. When you spend your life trying to be accepted, you lose your fucking power. That's what crushed me for so long. I was so busy trying to fit in, trying to be what everyone else wanted me to be, that I lost who the hell I was. And it's because we're all swimming in this sea of influence. So much shit coming at us from every direction that we don't even know what we want anymore. We're lost as hell because we don't spend enough time with ourselves to figure it out. You got to learn how to shut off all that bullshit, turn off your phone, close the laptop, kill the TV, and just sit your ass down in a room by yourself. Sit there and fucking think. Ask yourself, where the hell do I want to be? What's next for me? Where do I see myself a year from now? 5 years from now? And let me tell you something that kind of focus, that self-discipline, is rare as hell these days. Because everyone's addicted to being connected. We're so wrapped up in the world that we lose ourselves in it. And the world's moving at light speed and you're running to keep up. But here's the thing. The faster you try to keep up, the more you lose yourself. You've got to slow the fuck down. Go to that dark place in your mind and find you. Strip away all the noise, all the distractions, and figure out who the hell you are at your core. Look, life made me who I was. It made me that weak-ass, broken-down person I used to be. But I had to come to terms with that. I had to look at myself and say, all right, it's not all my fault, but it's my responsibility to fix this shit, life, society, whatever. Yeah, they might help dig that hole, but I was holding the damn shovel too. And now no one's coming to pull me out. I had to go back to where it all started, face that pain head on, and start fixing the broken pieces. That's where real change happens. And trust me, that journey is fucking ugly. It's raw and it's painful. But here's what's crazy. As you're trying to dig yourself out of that hole, all those people you used to roll with, those so-called friends who were down in the dirt with you, they're still stuck. And the second you start trying to climb out, they're grabbing at your feet, pulling you back, saying, come on, man, stay down here with us. That's what happens when you decide to get better. All the people who knew you back in the day, the ones who were right there with you in your darkest moments, they'll come out of nowhere trying to drag you back. They'll remind you of who you used to be, what you used to do. They want you stuck in that same miserable place because they're too scared to climb out themselves. But fuck that. You got to keep moving, keep pushing, and let them talk. Let them try to pull you back. You're on a mission to become something greater, and no one's stopping that except you. Stay hard. Keep grinding. Man, I'm straight up fascinated by that dude from Free Solo. He's got something deep inside him, something most people can't even wrap their heads around. It's not even about what he did. Yeah, climbing that rock with no ropes is insane. But what really blows my mind is how he shut the whole world out. He didn't give a fuck about anything or anyone. No distractions, no noise. It's just him and that damn rock. To pull off something like that, you've got to be willing to stare death right in the face and say, bring it on. You have to accept that you might never see your family again. When you're up there clinging to that rock, you can't be thinking about your loved ones. You can't be thinking about anything but that climb. That's the level of focus and obsession we're talking about here. Nothing mattered to him but that rock. And that's what fascinates me, the mindset it takes to get to that point. People like him, they're on a different fucking level. They put themselves in these situations where most people would crumble, and hardly anyone gets it. Very few understand what it takes to want something so bad, to be so locked in that you're ready to risk everything for it. It's not that he thought he was going to die up there. I don't believe that. It's that he was willing to put it all on the line, willing to sacrifice everything to make that climb. Most people will never get that. They want to stay on safe, solid ground, feet planted nice and firm. But people like him, people like me, We're not about that life. There's more to it than that. It's about pushing past the limits, getting to that place where only a few are willing to go. And for him, yeah, maybe it was just a few hours on that rock. I don't know how long it took him, 3-4 hours maybe. But here's the thing, man, it's over now. That moment is gone. But what he gained in those few hours, what I've gained from putting my own life on the line in my moments, most people will never understand. Because they'll never put themselves on the rock. Never risk it all for those few hours, those moments where everything hangs in the balance. That's what separates us from the rest of the world. We're out here chasing something they'll never know because they're too afraid to even try. Stay hard. And that's the shit that almost nobody gets. They look at him and think, man, this guy's lost his mind. But those are the weak-minded fools I can't even have a conversation with because it ain't craziness. It's purpose. He found something deep just like I did. I found this life and I'm out here grinding every damn day to push my limits. He was out there doing his thing, climbing rocks and shit. I was out there suffering in my own way. That's what separates us, those relentless souls who look in the mirror and say, hey, I love my family, but you got to understand something. I need to disappear for a while. I can't be around all the time because this grind takes every ounce of me. I need total silence. I need relentless focus. I need to fucking sacrifice. I need to be all in because this goal, this dream, it costs everything. That level of dedication doesn't exist in most people. Most people are too soft. They don't want to reset their bar. They don't want a new norm. My new norm, it's waking up at 4 a.m. and embracing the suck. That's your new reality. Most people want to run from that shit, but I leaned into it. I told myself, this is your life now. You wake up and you fucking suffer, and when you make that your mentality, nothing's hard anymore. That's your baseline cold water, 200-mile runs, whatever the fuck life throws at you. Your new norm is doing shit that nobody else is willing to do. And yeah, there are days I wake up with that poor me and bullshit, thinking, what the hell am I doing? No race lined up, no goals on paper. Why am I still grinding like this? And then I snap the hell out of it. You really want to go back to being average. You want to go back to being that guy who was okay with less, that dude who blends into the crowd, never knowing the real power inside. I see people every damn day walking around like zombies, buried in their phones, clueless as fuck about what they could be. I'm not talking about talent that comes from some fairy tale. I'm talking about the kind of talent that you have to bleed for, that you have to rip out of yourself through hard work. They have no idea how capable they are because they're too busy being soft. When I was a fat piece of shit trying to be a SEAL, the scariest thing wasn't the training, it was the thought that this could be my life forever. Back then, I thought I was giving it my all. I thought I was at my limit. Turns out I was nowhere near it. Fast forward, I lost 106 pounds, graduated SEAL training, and went on to do things I never thought possible. And looking back, that was me trying hard. Fuck that, now I know what trying hard really looks like. Man, this is the kind of shit people don't want to hear, but it's the goddamn truth. You don't know what the hell is inside you until you go all in, balls to the wall, no excuses, no bullshit. When you're out there obsessing over one thing, saying, this is my new normal, and that normal is gritty, ugly, and anything but fun, that's when you're in the game. That's when you know you're trying hard as fuck. I remember that moment clear as day. I was this fat, insecure dude trying to become a Navy SEAL. My life was at this fork in the road, man, and I knew deep down I had to go right. But here's the thing, nobody was going right. Everyone was taking the easy path going left, but I knew I had to take the harder path. And I knew what that path was going to be like, full of pain, failure, and a shit ton of suffering. It was all on me. No one else could do it for me. That voice in my head, the one we all have, but most of us ignore, was screaming at me, and it had been screaming for years. It said, you can do this, you can be more, but I was scared of the work. I wasn't born smart, I wasn't blessed with natural talent, and I sure as hell wasn't gifted. I had to earn every goddamn inch. And the amount of work, man, I didn't even want to look at it. It scared the hell out of me. So I kept putting it off, running from it, because that voice would tell me, you're going to die never knowing what you could have been. And that scared me more than anything. I believe that when you die, something in your mind, your spirit lives on. And if you've been a coward, you're going to live in that hell forever, haunted by your own damn self. But knowing what I put myself through now, I can look back and say, yeah, I fucking went for it. And if there's any afterlife, I'll be smiling because I didn't let fear win. But back then I knew if I didn't change, I'd be paying for this shit in life and death. Being comfortable is a fucking sin. just sitting around, not even trying. That's a sin. You've got one shot at this. And it all starts with the truth. You got to be brutally honest with yourself. I call it the accountability mirror. Look at that reflection and face your flaws, your failures, your fears. That's your starting point. If you're lying to yourself, telling yourself you're strong when you're weak or you're smart when you're clueless, you're just pushing that starting point further back. You have to own who you are, all the ugly parts. My starting point, I'm not smart. I'm not brave. I'm weak as shit. That's where you start. And from there you can build. But if you're full of shit, you'll never even take the first step. Truth is your launch pad. Embrace it. Own it. And get after it. Listen, man, because I'm about to hit you with some real shit. Yeah, we all love to feel wanted, to feel loved, and that's fine, but fuck that soft shit if it's all you're chasing. You need people who tell you the raw truth, the shit you don't want to hear. You're not working hard enough. You're not grinding your ass off. Most people think they're trying hard. But what the fuck are you measuring that against? I talked to this kid the other day. He's whining about college, saying, college is kicking my ass. I asked him, what are you comparing that to? And he's like, man, I'm busting my ass. I'm studying. But I pressed him. What's your standard for trying hard? He says, well, in high school, I didn't have to try. And now I am. That's his reality. He's basing his hard work off some bullshit past that came easy to him. So his version of trying hard is 2 hours of studying. Let me tell you something. That's not fucking trying hard. Trying hard isn't this thing you turn on for a couple hours and then flip off. It's that relentless, never quit mentality where you know deep down that 2 hours ain't shit. I've been there, man. People see me now and they don't believe it. But I've been over 300 pounds not once, but twice in my life. You think someone who's pushing 3 bills loves running or doing cardio? Hell no. But here's the thing. I realize that growth lives in the shit you hate doing. That's where you evolve. That's where you find out what you're really made of. It's that uncomfortable zone, that place where most people never want to go. And I go there every damn day. I call it the live autopsy, constantly dissecting myself. And I even started examining the people around me. See, I used to put everyone on a pedestal because I felt like a nobody. When I got around SEALs and elite athletes, I was like, damn, I'm lucky to be here with these badass guys. But over time, shit started to change. The cold water, it just became water. The pain, it just became my life. When you're neck deep in it, that's when you stop thinking and start living. I made that misery my home. I said, this is who I am now. Most people fail because they're afraid of what others will think. That's the goddamn truth. We live according to other people's narratives. And let me tell you, there's a lot of negative, small-minded people out there projecting their own bullshit fears onto you. So what do? You don't even try. You don't take risks. You're afraid of looking stupid, of failing. And then you've got these people chirping in your ear, man, I told you that was stupid. Why are you so obsessed? Just chill out, fuck that noise. When I was going through my darkest times, I knew one thing. I was the most trained, most mentally tough person in the room. I had been through more pain, more suffering, more mental warfare than most people can even imagine. And that's why I kept pushing when others quit. You want to know what separates those who make it from those who don't? It's that mindset shift. It's not about comfort, it's about obsession. It's about saying, this is who the fuck I am, and then proving it every damn day, no matter how much it hurts, no matter how much it sucks. So stop living for other people's opinions and start living for your own damn potential. Get comfortable being uncomfortable, and you'll find out just how far you can really go. I was standing toe to toe with the baddest motherfuckers on the planet, and you know what I realized? They couldn't hold a damn stick to me. I stopped looking at these guys like they were gods, and instead I flipped the script. I went from thinking, I don't belong here to, I might just be the baddest motherfucker to ever step foot here. Who else could have pulled this off? Who else got thrown into the shittiest situations, lived in a mental sewer, and still clawed their way to the top with nothing but hard work, grit, and sheer fucking willpower? That became my inner voice. You really are the hardest person alive, and let me tell you something, when you say that shit to yourself every day, you start to believe it. I look back at my fucked up childhood, all the trauma, all the pain, and saw it for what it was. The ultimate training ground. Those scars, they're proof of the battle. Proof that my path is real. I wear them like a badge of honor. When you start seeing your life like that, when you realize all that bullshit you went through was just prep for what's coming, Everything changes. You don't look at your past as something that broke you. You see it as the shit that built you. There's got to be people like me out there, warriors who take that mindset and do something with it, who don't back down when life gets ugly. My mission was simple. I had to be the hardest man alive in my mind. That's why I live by can't hurt Maine. That's the mentality, whatever you think you are. You got to make that shit a reality. But that's where people quit. Everyone talks a big game, but making your dreams come true, that's the hard part. That's where the work comes in. People always ask me, Goggins, how do you keep grinding every day? It's simple. You got to take all those insecurities, that fear, that doubt, and turn it into fuel. When I was 300 pounds, I wasn't some driven dude trying to be a Navy SEAL. I was a scared, insecure, fat kid who lied to himself every damn day. I had to confront my fears and use them as my fire. Look, man, everyone's going through some shit. Some people have been bullied. Some are dealing with stress. Others are insecure, overweight, or just feel like the world is against them. And yeah, a lot of that is life throwing shit at you, but don't get it twisted. You're part of it too. That's why I had to build a mindset that was bulletproof. I had to armor plate my mind. It's all about what you tell yourself when you're getting beat down physically, mentally, spiritually. Every time I was at my lowest, I tell myself, you can't hurt me. That became my mantra, my shield. No matter what came my way, I'd look it dead in the eyes and say, can't hurt me. That's how you survive. That's how you thrive. That's how you become unstoppable. Everyone's out here talking about passion like it's some mystical shit you got to go find. But let me tell you something. Passion ain't hiding under a rock. It's right there, buried in your insecurities and all that doubt, fear, and bullshit you try to ignore. You've got a whole goddamn mountain of it inside you waiting to be tapped into. All that energy, all that fire has been there all along. And that's where I found my drive. I found it right in the pit of my own insecurities. That's the most powerful shit in the world, man. When you can dig deep and pull drive out of your own doubt, out of your own fear and insecurities, you become a force of nature. Most people don't believe they can achieve the impossible, but that's because they're looking in all the wrong places. I realize that we've all got this untapped potential inside, but we're too scared or too lazy to dig for it. I didn't just read about this shit, I lived it. I went from being a goddamn mess to breaking down walls I never thought I'd get past. I had a learning disability. I struggled in school, but I didn't let that shit define me. I caught up. I fought through it. I figured out every single thing that was dragging me down, every negative voice in my head, and I turned that shit into fuel. That's when I knew I had to tell people. You don't need some perfect upbringing, rich parents, a private school education, or some crazy high GPA. What you need is the kind of brutal, relentless work ethic that nobody wants to talk about. You got to be willing to outwork every motherfucker in the room. And that's the part nobody wants to hear. There ain't no 5-step process, no shortcuts, no magic pill. What I'm teaching you is how to toughen up your victim mentality, how to stop blaming the world and start finding more in yourself. I'm all about the underdog, the ones nobody bets on. People ask me all the time, how do you fight those demons? It's every damn day, man. I'm raw and real. Because I'm out here battling my insecurities just like everyone else. But I'm not chasing trophies. I don't give a damn about praise, love, or likes on Instagram. I'm in this for one thing. A feeling of true victory, a win for me and me alone. The moment I stopped caring about what everyone else thought, I realized the truth, I'm in this race alone. No one really knows how hard I'm grinding, and I don't need them to know. I'm an introvert, man. I live in my own head, and that's where my fire comes from. I don't need the spotlight, I need the grind. I love that I'm out here in the dark, pushing harder than anyone else. And if someone else out there is grinding just as hard, good. I'll find out about you and then I'll up my game even more. That's the mentality. That's what it means to be relentless. My whole thing is about mindset. What the fuck are you waiting for? Stop sitting on your ass waiting for life to hand you something. Waiting for the stars to align, waiting for some bullshit miracle to drop in your lap. I remember growing up, there was a song called All I Need Is a Miracle. Let me tell you something, there ain't no miracle coming. Not now, not ever. The perfect time to start doesn't exist. You got to get up and start attacking life right fucking now. We're all being tested every day. And guess what? This is one test you can't cheat on. Life doesn't hand out a damn answer sheet. We all got our demons. Some of us are dealing with depression. Some of us are at war with ourselves. And some of us are still fighting to find peace. And the only way out, you got to face your own shit. You've got to do your best work when you feel the most unmotivated, when you're beat down, when you don't want to do a damn thing. On those days when you want to quit, guess what you got to do? You got to get the fuck up and get it done anyway. Hell Week is the perfect example. The whole damn job of Hell Week is to push a man to his absolute breaking point and keep him there. They want to break you after 72 hours because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the guy who can be shattered, who can be completely destroyed, and then somehow find a way to put himself back together while he's still getting crushed. They're not just breaking you, they're breaking you, shoving you into the ground, and then watching to see what you do next. You're the most broken you've ever been mentally and physically, and your mind is screaming, I've still got almost 100 hours left of this shit. How the fuck am I going to make it? That's exactly what they're after. They're looking for the person who can stare down that pain, that exhaustion, and say, fuck it. Let's keep going. Because life's not about being unbreakable, it's about being broken, picking up the pieces and moving forward anyway. That's the mentality. That's what separates the weak from the relentless. Stay hard.